Let me start with a statement that might sting a little. The moment you stop chasing a woman is the moment she starts chasing you. Sounds backwards, right? But it's the uncomfortable truth most men don't want to hear. For years, men have been conditioned to believe that the way to win a woman back or to keep her is through constant attention, endless effort, and proving your value over and over again. But here's the reality. The more desperate you look for her approval, the less valuable you appear in her eyes. And the second you no longer need her validation, the game shifts completely. This video isn't about bashing women or painting them as villains. Number. It's about teaching men like you, how to stop giving away all their power in relationships. Because whether you like it or not, power dynamics exist between men and women. When you're always the one begging, chasing, and hoping, you've already lost. Here's the brutal truth. A woman will return when you no longer want her. And the reason is simple. People, not just women, are drawn to what they can't easily have. When you're no longer available, when you stop being predictable, and when you've built a life that doesn't revolve around her, suddenly you're no longer the man she thought she could control or overlook. You become rare again. You become valuable again. Now, let's be real here. If you're watching this, chances are you've been in a situation where you lost yourself, chasing after a woman who pulled away. Maybe she left you for someone else. Maybe she got bored and started acting distant. Maybe she just stopped appreciating you. And what did you do? You panicked. You tried to text her more. You tried to prove your worth. You begged for her time. You replayed every conversation in your head thinking, what did I do wrong? But here's the thing. You didn't necessarily do anything wrong. Your biggest mistake was this. You forgot your own value. You put her on a pedestal, and in the process, you made yourself small. Men today are drowning in this trap. They think the answer to rejection is more effort, more gifts, more attention. But all that does is prove to her that she has the upper hand. And let me tell you something every man needs to understand. Women are not attracted to desperation. They're attracted to strength. They're drawn to men who don't need them to survive. Men who can stand tall with or without them. That's why so many women end up coming back right when you finally moved on. You've seen it before, maybe in your own life or with your friends. The moment a man starts focusing on himself, leveling up his career, his body, his mindset, when he's no longer waiting for her text or begging for her presence, that's when she suddenly reappears. Not because she loves him more now, but because she feels the loss of his attention. And human nature hates losing what once felt secure. Let me make this even more controversial. The real reason many women return isn't love. It's curiosity, ego, and control. They want to see if they still have access to you. They want to test if you're truly over them. And if you've grown stronger in that time, if you've learned not to jump the second she calls, suddenly the dynamic flips. She realizes she can't control you anymore. And ironically, that's when she starts to respect you again. But here's the catch. And this is where most men fail. If you're pretending not to want her just to manipulate her into coming back, she'll see through it. Women have a sixth sense for spotting fakery. You can't fake strength. You can't fake indifference. You actually have to mean it. You actually have to let go, rebuild yourself, and decide that your happiness doesn't depend on her. And this is where the real teaching begins. Because this video isn't about tricks or games. It's not about making women jealous or playing hard to get. It's about transforming yourself into the kind of man who doesn't beg for love, who doesn't crumble at rejection, and who doesn't make a single person the center of his entire world. Let's face it, too many men build their whole identity around a woman. They stop working out, stop grinding, stop focusing on their goals, all because they're too busy waiting for her next move. That's weakness. and weakness will never attract respect. So listen carefully. The only way a woman will ever come back is when you've reached a point where you truly don't need her to. When you've built a life so fulfilling, so powerful, that her presence would be an addition, not a necessity. That's when you flip the script. That's when she realizes you're not the same man she walked away from. That's when she starts to feel the weight of losing you. This video will break down why this happens, how to stop sabotaging yourself, and how to shift your mindset from chasing women to building yourself. Because once you master that, not only will women come back, you'll reach a point where you may not even want them back. And that's the ultimate level of freedom. So, buckle up, because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you've been taught about relationships. Some of it will sting. Some of it will make you uncomfortable. But if you're serious about becoming stronger, smarter, and harder to replace, then keep watching, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the moment you stop wanting her is the moment she starts wanting you. Chasing kills attraction. Here's a hard truth most men don't want to admit. The more you chase a woman, the less attractive you become in her eyes. It sounds unfair, almost cruel, but it's how human psychology works. When you chase, you're not showing love. You're showing neediness. And neediness is the fastest way to destroy respect, desire, and attraction. Think about it. When you're constantly texting her, calling her, begging for her time, rearranging your entire life just to fit into hers, what message are you really sending? You're telling her that she is your priority above everything else. And while that may sound romantic to you, to her it screams desperation. You've just told her without words that you don't value your own time, your own goals, or your own self-respect as much as you value her attention. And once she senses that, the attraction begins to die. Men need to understand this. Attraction isn't built by chasing, it's destroyed by it. What builds attraction is mystery, strength, and independence. It's when she sees you as a man who values himself so much that he doesn't have to beg for anyone's presence. It's when she realizes that your life is already full, already exciting, already meaningful, with or without her. But chasing flips the script. Instead of being the strong, confident man she was drawn to in the beginning, you've turned into the man who's available at every moment, who can be summoned with one text, who gets anxious the second she doesn't reply. And let's be brutally honest. What's attractive about that? Let's put it in simple terms. Imagine you're in a marketplace and there's a stall giving away free jewelry. People will look at it, but they won't value it. Why? Because it's free. But if that same jewelry is rare, locked behind a glass case, and people have to work hard to get it, suddenly everyone wants it. The value isn't in the object itself. It's in the scarcity. The same principle applies in relationships. When you're too available, too giving, too eager, you strip yourself of value. Now, let's go deeper. Many men think they can win a woman back by proving how much they care. They shower her with gifts, send long paragraphs about their feelings, or bend over backwards to make her happy. But here's the hidden problem. When you do this, you're not making her happy. You're putting pressure on her, you're suffocating her with your need for validation. And the more pressure she feels, the faster she'll pull away. Here's where it gets even more controversial. Women don't respect men who can't control their emotions. If every time she withdraws a little you panic and chase harder, she knows she has the upper hand. She knows you'll always be there no matter how badly she treats you. And once she knows that, the attraction is gone. Why? Because respect is gone. Now, picture this scenario. A man is dating a woman who starts pulling away. She takes longer to reply to texts. She cancels plans last minute and she seems distracted. Most men would react by chasing harder, sending more messages, trying to fix her mood, begging to see her. But one man reacts differently. Instead of chasing, he stays calm. He doesn't double text. He doesn't beg. He continues with his life, hitting the gym, working on his career, spending time with friends. He doesn't punish her or lash out. He simply doesn't chase. A few weeks later, she notices something strange. He's not blowing up her phone. He's not waiting on her every word. He's not begging for attention. Instead, he looks focused, confident, and busy with his own life. Suddenly, she starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me? Has he moved on? Did he lose interest? That's when the tables turn. The same woman who was pulling away now begins to lean back in. She starts initiating conversations again. She starts trying to get his attention. Why? Because he stopped chasing. This isn't a trick. It's human nature. When you chase, you're telling her that you have nothing better going on in your life. When you stop chasing, you're telling her you know your worth. And deep down, women are drawn to men who know their worth. But let's be clear about something. Stopping the chase doesn't mean being cold, rude, or disrespectful. It means balancing your priorities. It means not abandoning your goals, your purpose, or your self-respect just to keep someone else happy. It means showing her through your actions that your life doesn't revolve around her. The truth is, men who chase too much end up burning out. They pour so much energy into trying to please a woman that they forget to please themselves. They lose the fire, the drive, and the edge that made them attractive in the first place. And once that's gone, it's almost impossible to get it back unless they stop chasing. So, here's the lesson. If you want to keep attraction alive, stop running after her. Stop proving your worth with constant effort. Build a life that makes her want to run after you. Focus on your goals, your growth, and your own happiness. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts noticing. And the moment she starts noticing is the moment attraction is reborn. She returns for power, not love. Let's face it, one of the most uncomfortable truths men don't want to admit is this. When a woman comes back after leaving, most of the time it isn't because of love. It's because of power. That's a bold statement, but stay with me. Once you understand this, you'll stop falling for the same traps over and over again. Think about it. When someone truly loves you, they don't walk away in the first place. They don't disappear when things get tough. They don't go silent for weeks and then suddenly reappear when it suits them. Love isn't built on convenience. It's built on consistency. So, when she returns after treating you like an option, you have to ask yourself, what is she really coming back for? Here's where it gets controversial. Many women return not because they suddenly realized you're the love of their life, but because they feel a shift in control. When you stop chasing, when you stop making her the center of your universe, she feels that power slipping away. And human nature, whether we admit it or not, hates losing control. She doesn't want to lose the comfort of knowing you'll always be there. She doesn't want to lose the certainty that she could have you at any time. That's why she comes back, not out of deep love, but to see if the door is still open, to check if you're still the man she can pull in whenever she wants. And if you let her walk back in without hesitation, without boundaries, you've given that power right back. Here's the problem most men face. They confuse her return with a sign of love. They tell themselves, she must really care about me if she came back. But that's rarely the truth. More often, it's about ego. It's about curiosity. It's about testing if she still has influence over you. And if you mistake that for love, you set yourself up to be controlled again. This is where men need to wake up, because Too many fall into the trap of thinking love and power don't mix. But they do. Relationships are full of unspoken power dynamics. Who values who more? Who needs who more? Who has more options? It might sound harsh, but ignoring this reality doesn't make it go away. And if you're blind to it, you'll always find yourself at the weaker end of the scale. You know this feeling. You've probably lived it. The late night thoughts asking yourself, why did she suddenly start talking to me again? Why does she act distant, then warm, then distant again? Deep down, you feel it. It's not about love. It's about the push and pull of control. And here's something most men won't say out loud. Sometimes the reason she returns is simply because you stopped giving her attention. She felt the emptiness where your energy used to be, and it bothered her. Not because she missed you in a deep, genuine way, but because she missed the validation. She missed knowing that someone was always there, waiting, ready. That loss of attention stings, and instead of admitting it, she comes back to get that feeling again. But here's the thing you must understand. If you allow yourself to be used as an emotional safety net, she'll never respect you. She'll keep coming and going, knowing you'll always be waiting. That's not love. That's convenience. And a man who allows himself to be convenient will never be taken seriously. So the question is, what should you do when she returns? The answer isn't to slam the door in her face, but it also isn't to hand her the keys. It's to recognize the motive behind the return. Is it love or is it power? And 9 times out of 10, you already know the answer. You just don't want to admit it. Here's the brutal truth. Men who confuse power for love keep themselves stuck. They hold on to women who don't truly value them. They waste years chasing after something that isn't real. And all the while they're draining their energy, their confidence, and their self-respect. But men who recognize the difference, they grow. They understand that not every return means reconciliation. Sometimes it means a test. Sometimes it means ego. Sometimes it means nothing more than a check-in to see if the leash still fits. And when you see it for what it is, you can finally stand tall. You can finally say, I don't need this game anymore. Because here's the reality. If she truly loved you, she wouldn't need to test you. She wouldn't need to come and go. Love doesn't play tug of war with your emotions. Love doesn't return just to see if it still has power. So remember this. When she comes back, don't confuse it with love. Ask yourself what she's really after. Is it connection or is it control? Once you start seeing the difference, you'll stop falling for the illusion. And that's when you reclaim your strength as a man. Indifference is magnetic. Let's get straight to the point. Nothing attracts a woman more than a man who doesn't need her. And yet, this is exactly where most men fail. Too many of you hand over your power the moment you like a woman. You start rearranging your life, cancelling your plans, and bending over backwards just to keep her interested. That's not strength, it's weakness. And weakness kills attraction. Here's the truth. Indifference is magnetic. When you're not emotionally tied to whether she stays or goes, you project strength. You project confidence. You project the kind of self-respect that women can't ignore. It's not about being cold or heartless. It's about having standards, boundaries, and a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else. Now, let me be brutally honest with you. Too many men are living like emotional beggars. You cling to every text, every call, every breadcrumb of attention. You check your phone every 5 minutes hoping she replied. You replay conversations in your head wondering what you could have said differently. And in the process, you lose yourself. You stop being a man and start being a shadow. That's why I'm telling you to wake up. A man who can't stand on his own 2 feet will never be respected. You want to know why she loses interest? It's not because she doesn't see your potential. It's because she sees that you don't respect yourself. If you don't respect your own time, your own goals, your own value, why should she? Indifference changes everything. When you're indifferent, you're not chasing, you're not begging, you're not playing emotional tug-of-war. You're living your life, pursuing your goals, and letting people choose whether they want to be a part of it. That kind of energy is magnetic because it's rare. Most men are too desperate to walk away. Most men are too scared to lose her. But the man who isn't afraid to lose, he's the one who becomes impossible to replace. And let's make this clear. Indifference isn't pretending not to care. It's not a game. It's not manipulation. It's real. It means you've built a life that fulfills you so much that no single person has the power to break you. That's strength. That's confidence. That's what makes her stop and think, I can't afford to lose this man. But here's where I'm going to criticize you again. Most of you won't do this. You'll hear these words, nod your head, and then go right back to the same habits. You'll keep chasing, keep begging, keep waiting by the phone, and then you'll wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because you don't change. Nothing changes because you refuse to face the uncomfortable truth. You're too dependent on her for your happiness. Indifference forces you to grow up. It forces you to put your energy back into yourself. It forces you to stop making excuses and start building a life worth living. Because here's the shocking part. Once you truly become indifferent, once you stop caring whether she stays or leaves, that's usually when she wants you the most. Not because you played a trick, but because you finally showed strength. And men, you need to understand something. Women are not drawn to men who need them more than air. They're drawn to men who can breathe on their own. If you can't stand alone, you're not a man. You're a boy hoping someone else will complete you. And that's exactly why you keep losing. So, here's my advice. Wake up. Stop wasting your life waiting for someone to validate you. Stop chasing after women who don't respect your value. Stop living like your happiness depends on her attention. Start building yourself. Start focusing on your career, your health, your mindset, your purpose. Build a life so powerful that whether she stays or leaves, you'll keep moving forward. Because here's the truth you can't ignore. The moment you stop needing her, she'll start needing you. The moment you stop caring whether she returns, she'll start chasing. The moment you become indifferent, not fake, but real, unshakable indifference, you'll see how magnetic it truly is. So stop begging, stop waiting, stop being the man who crumbles at rejection. Become the man who doesn't care if rejection happens because he knows his value. That's the man who commands respect. That's the man women chase. And that's the man you need to become. We've reached the end of this video, but I don't want you to walk away and forget what you've just heard. Because what we've discussed here isn't just about women. It's about you. It's about your value as a man, your mindset, and your ability to stop giving away your power. Now, here's where I'm going. To drop something that will make some of you uncomfortable. The harsh truth is that most of the time, it's not women who are the problem. It's men. That's right. The reason you keep getting hurt, the reason she doesn't respect you, the reason she walks away and comes back on her terms, it's not because women are complicated or hard to understand. It's because you, as a man, refuse to wake up. You keep repeating the same weak habits. You keep chasing. You keep begging, and you keep allowing yourself to be treated as an option. And then you wonder why things don't change. That's the controversial statement I promised you, and I'll stand by it. Men are the real problem because most men have forgotten what it means to be men. Sit with that for a moment, because until you take responsibility for your role in these situations, nothing will change. When you finally stop blaming women for everything and start holding yourself accountable, that's when you'll grow. That's when you'll understand why indifference is magnetic, why chasing kills attraction, and why her return is often about power, not love. You'll stop playing the victim and start becoming the man who doesn't need to beg for respect, because respect becomes a natural part of who you are. Here's what I want you to take away. Stop being the man who's always available. Stop being the man who can't function without her approval. Stop being the man who hands over his dignity just to keep someone around. And instead, become the man who lives with purpose. Become the man who doesn't bend at the first sign of rejection. Become the man who is unshakable in who he is. Because here's the reality. When you become that man, you won't even be asking yourself if she'll come back. You won't be begging for her attention. You'll be too busy building, growing, and living a life that excites you. And ironically, that's the very thing that will make her want you again. But by then, you'll have the power to decide if you even want her back. That's the shift. That's the freedom. And that's the level most men never reach because they refuse to let go of their desperation. So, let me ask you, are you ready to stop being that man? Are you ready to wake up and finally take control of your life instead of waiting around for her to validate you? Are you ready to stop repeating the same mistakes over and over again? Because here's the truth. If you don't change, nothing changes. If you don't step up, you'll keep running in circles. But if you do, if you take this message seriously, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. You'll realize that your strength, your focus, and your indifference are far more powerful than chasing after someone who doesn't see your value. And now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever lived through this cycle? Have you chased a woman only to watch her pull away? Have you experienced her returning just when you stopped caring? Share your story below. I'll be reading them, and I'll be reaching out to connect with some of you directly, because this isn't just a video, it's a conversation. And the more we share, the stronger we become as men. So, let's end with this final thought. Stop waiting for her to decide your worth. Decide it for yourself, because the second you do that, you'll never be controlled again. And that's the kind of man the world, and yes, women too, will respect.